Hey Chitkala, how you doing today? Nice to see you.
Same here. How are you, Kayo?
I'm doing fantastic. How's your day been so far?
Super. Amazing.
All right, excellent, excellent. Well, yeah, let the viewers know who you are, what you do, and why you do it, Chitkala.
Okay. I am a life relationship and intimacy coach who uses NLP, consciousness, spirituality approaches for transforming lives. I'm an author and a poet. I have written a fiction novel Beyond a Love Story, which is a story of a gay boy and a straight girl that talks about a family system which is based on companionship. I have written a short film which was screened at Cannes Film Festival.
Right, right, right. So, how did you get into that path? What led you to that direction of wanting to work with people and help them with their relationships?
Okay. Well, I'm a mechanical engineer. I did MBA HR. But all this while, there was one passion in my heart to help people find love in their relationships. So when I was in my college days, I used to help people in their relationships. And eventually, at a point, as I told you, when my short film was screened at Cannes Film Festival, I realized that I have to leave my corporate job now and pursue my passion. So that was the time I left my job and I started coaching. And now, with the direction where I'm moving, like I'm helping people use consciousness approaches to find love, peace in their relationships. So here I come from being a love guru to someone who is helping people find unconditional love in their own heart so that it gets reflected back to them.
Excellent, excellent. So, when you say a consciousness approach, what is the difference between that and like the another kind of approach to help people with their relationship? How does the consciousness approach differ, and what does it entail?
All right. See, um, let me put it simple. When people talk about dating and love, they have practical approaches. Like they think about chasing love, they think about finding love in relationships by which they can use manipulation. But when I say spirituality and consciousness, I help people ignite that love in themselves. I help people understand that self love is not about selfishness. Self love is about nurturing yourself so that when you nurture yourself, you get that love back,
Right.
and the love that you get back or the love that you receive is your own love. It is not somebody giving you love. It's not about seeking love. It's attracting love that ignites at your own pace, in your own hearts.
Right.
So, what I do is I blend practical as well as spiritual approaches in my coaching so that, people find it more implementable. Because not all would be open to this kind of thinking and shift their mindsets. And even if we have to shift mindsets, we have to do it step by step. Say, for example, usually people think in black and white, right? Then there are people who think about learning lessons. They think in shades of gray. Like maybe they would say, okay, fine. If something has gone wrong in my life, okay, there were positive sides as well. Or maybe everything is not best. There are different aspects, different perspectives to look at the situation. Then, as in when we start thinking with a higher thought process, we start looking with a bird's eye view, and then we realize that life is happening in a particular flow. Maybe we feel at this moment that things are going wrong, but probably later something is going to come up. And then when we connect the dots, we're going to realize what is the higher purpose, why all of this is happening. So as we start shifting our mindsets, we eventually expand our consciousness. So I'm trying to put it simple, like how to go practically with this consciousness approach.
Right. So, with the consciousness approach, it all starts from connecting to the spirit within before anything else, before being able to solve any external problems. Would that be accurate?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent, excellent. Yeah, so when we look at our previous relationships, we've all had different struggles in previous relationships, and we navigate through those to get to where we are now. What would you say some of your previous struggles have been in relationships, and how did you navigate through those to get to where you are now?
Okay. So I would like to tell you something that as a child, I was someone who battled with inferiority complex and bullying.
Right.
And of course, that was because for whatever reasons, I did not have a high self esteem. As I grew, I realized that all of these problems are not because people are wrong. All of these problems exist because it's me who lacks self awareness. It's me who needs to grow. It's me who needs to transform. So ultimately, what we see is the reflection of our mind. So that is where the whole process got triggered. And yes, challenges are there in every relationship. It could be with your parents, it could be with your friends, it could be on your professional front, it could be with your partner, it could be with relatives or anyone. Ultimately, people are there. Everyone has their ego, their imperfections everywhere. So, what we should do is we should love people unconditionally, knowing that neither we are perfect nor they are. So, it's better to accept people unconditionally. And that is what my own relationship struggles taught me.
Right, right, yeah, excellent. So, you mentioned having a low self-esteem, like in the beginning, because some people, when they come out of a relationship that didn't work out for them, it can affect their self-esteem, and it can cause a sense of shame that the relationship didn't work out, to the point that they don't know how to move on and how to find a new relationship in their life. What would you say to those people that are struggling with that sense of shame and low self-esteem from a broken relationship, and how they can move forward in their life?
We all need to understand that we become capable of loving only when we learn to love ourselves. The day we learn to love ourselves, we become capable of loving others. So, to start with, we need to accept ourselves. We need to accept our shadows. We need to accept everything that we are seeking validation for. So today, if we feel that I'm feeling guilty of something I did in the past, the first action that we need to take is to correct what we did. If we can correct, it's good. If we cannot correct, at least forgive ourselves, take a step ahead, make all the necessary changes that led us to a particular point because of whatever our sufferings, whatever the other people did in our lives. So once we start changing, once we start transforming, we become stronger and we attract good relationships. So before entering any new relationship, one must take care that we first learn to love ourselves fully. Whatever we may expect from others, are we doing the same thing with ourselves? We need to ask ourselves this question. Okay, I am feeling guilty. But if the same thing happens with my loved one, what would I tell him or her? So
Right.
probably our answers would differ, right? So when we say something that, oh, I'm expecting something, and we aren't doing it with ourselves, it doesn't make any sense. So the day we start doing every little thing that we expect from others, or the day we start treating ourselves the way we would treat our loved ones, we become stronger and more capable to get into another relationship and share that love. That is, feel, give, and receive.
Right, like when some people hear about self-love, they interpret it as putting themselves first, right? So to the point that what that means to them is they should just focus on their self, and what they end up doing is focusing on their career most of the time, right? So upon focusing so heavily on their career, they start to neglect their personal life and start to lose touch with how to connect with their femininity again. So what about those people that have now connected so heavily with themselves and focus so heavily on their career that they do not know how to bridge the gap of how to reconnect with their feminine side again, and to find that kind of intimacy in their relationships?
Of course, it's a very nice question, Kayo. I really liked it. So, firstly, I would like to define self love. People misinterpret self love, like I told you. Focusing on ourselves doesn't mean we have to focus on our career. There are different aspects on which we need to focus. The first thing is our physical needs. It could be sleep, it could be food, it could be sex, it could be our body fitness. Second aspect of self love is emotional strength. where we connect with our emotions, we understand what we are, we free ourselves from guilt, we forgive ourselves, we appreciate ourselves. We don't look for all those things in another person. Like, we don't pressurize people around us to fulfill our emotional needs. We take care of ourselves first, and then whatever is left, if it's possible to share emotions, we do. But we do not burden others with these expectations. So, this is the second aspect of self love. The third aspect of self love is personal growth. Need not be career growth. Career growth is a very small part of that. So, personal growth means we learn lessons from our mistakes. Personal growth means we have certain self development goals in our life. Fourth aspect is being the ideal version of ourselves or spiritual pursuit in our life. So, all of these things contribute to self love.
Right.
And then, why do this? We're not doing this because we want to shun relationships. Try to understand, when we want to give something to someone, we need to first have it ourselves, right? So, if a mother who is breastfeeding is denied of quality food, nutritious food, do you think the baby is going to get good milk? No.
Right. Right.
So just imagine, we have to do some charity. We need funds, don't we? So if
Hmm.
we want to give something to ourselves, first we need to have that in abundance. And if we want to give love to people, we need to have that in abundance. So to ignite this love vibration in us, we need to nurture ourselves. We need to calm ourselves. We need to give our body, mind, soul whatever it needs at that very moment. And know that the higher purpose of this is to help others, is to give love to others and take care of others. It's not just because we don't want anybody and we just want to focus on ourselves. So if we understand what's the purpose of the self love, then we can definitely be good and do good to others.
Right, right. So, like when we're talking about self-love, it has to have all of the ingredients and be well-rounded rather than being one-dimensional and still thinking that it's complete in what we want to do. Would that be accurate to what you're saying?
Sorry, could you please repeat? There
Yeah, I
was
was
some
saying
network problem.
what like when we talk about self-love, it needs to be more well-rounded and complete rather than being one-dimensional in order to get the result that we want.
Yes, absolutely. It has to be holistic, and we should never underestimate and forget why we are doing it. Intent behind every act is necessary.
Right.
So, self-love is not about having a good career. So,
Mhm.
self-love has multiple dimensions, and yes, you mentioned something, intimacy. Even if we talk about couple intimacy, it's very important to develop that intimacy with ourselves first. Just imagine a couple dancing,
Mhm.
and they're dancing the first time, and they haven't practiced the steps before. So, do you think they are going to go in sync? Do you think the dance is going to go well? No, right?
Not at all. Yeah, not at all.
So, what do? We practice those steps separately, and then we come together as a couple and dance. So, the same thing happens with intimacy. We need to explore our connection with ourselves on physical, sexual, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual level. And then when we get intimate, whatever level it could be, whatever dimension it could be, then the connection is right because we know what we want. So once we know what we want, we can clearly state our needs to our partner. And we can also tell our partner, what is it that I actually feel happy with? So once the needs are understood, once in what way the needs need to be met is understood, it becomes easy for anyone to match up with you or to give, receive, exchange energies and have a fulfilling time.
Yeah, yeah. I like the example that you gave of a dance to create a balance in a relationship. So, when we look at a balance in a relationship, traditionally there has been gender roles where somebody would lead the relationship and the other person would choose to follow in the relationship. So, what is your viewpoint on gender roles in terms of how do you feel about somebody leading in a relationship and someone choosing to follow, or do you feel like people should lead themselves independently of their relationship and like coexist together? Or what is your viewpoint on gender roles in relationships?
Could you please give me an example? What do you mean by leading in a relationship?
For example, like let's say
Exactly.
traditionally, like let's say a man takes the lead in the relationship and his wife has chosen him that he wants to follow, she wants to follow the path that he set, but it's her choice. How do you feel about that as opposed to somebody being independent or two people being independent and not really following, but just coexisting and working together? Like, what is your viewpoint on that? Like when it comes to gender
Okay.
in relationship?
Okay, I got. There are a few qualities that are dominating in women. Like maybe it's said that women are playful, they're loving, they're nurturing, men are more pointed, men are more decisive. But there are individuals who have got mix of these qualities, isn't it? So no person is completely feminine and completely masculine. So that balance is needed, of course. But when it comes to relationship, complementary people come together, isn't it? The
Right,
skills that one person is having, the other person is exactly not going to have them. That is also a reason why they come together as a couple for an energy exchange,
right,
where they try to complement each other, be a better team in practical life also, and in love life also.
right, right,
So in that case, we should go with the flow in a way where the person who's good at something leads. So if the wife is good at cleanliness, let her lead that. If the man is probably good at taking care of the babies, let him do that. So it's not going to be a gender specific thing. We don't have to set a gender criteria anywhere. But when any two people come together, say in a professional team, what do? We assign the work as per the skill sets, isn't it? We do not decide, oh, this is woman, let us give this to her. This is a man, let us give this to him. So we are going to choose things based on the skill sets. The same thing needs to be there in relationships.
right, right. So looking at each other's strengths and helping each other to create that balance, kind of like yin and yang,
Absolutely.
like complementing each other in that sense. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So like when we look at the context of human nature and the fact that we all go out all the time and we see different people that we're attracted to, different people that entice us, right? What is your viewpoint on monogamy versus non-monogamy in the context of human nature and the fact that we're attracted to different people all the time?
Okay, interesting question. Very interesting question. See, monogamy is something that came into the picture because a man and a woman were supposed to raise a child and child or children, whatever. And to ensure that the provider consistently provided and the lady was there to nurture the kids. So just imagine if we wouldn't have chosen monogamy, families would have broken so much often. Or maybe the balance would have got disturbed. Multiple wives or multiple husbands and then kids. Oh my God, such a big confusion. So difficult to, you know, manage the needs of the kids. See, when multiple people come into the picture, it becomes a little complicated, isn't it? Even if it is a small group, it's easy to manage four people. But if we talk about 10 people, it's difficult to manage. So it's a basic practical thing where we prefer less number of people for a better management. This is one aspect of it. Now, second aspect of it, extrovert people prefer more number of people around them. So I have observed that extroverts are more likely to choose polygamy or let's call it polyamory for that matter. But introverts in general, they're going to have less number of friends. So they're going to prefer minimal number of partners in general. So then monogamy comes very easily to introverts. These are just different perspectives. Okay. In reality, it's going to be a mix of everything. And then even values are going to come to in the picture. People who believe that, oh, I'm a one woman man, one man woman, whatever. So they're going to prefer only one person, or people who do not believe in such concepts are going to go for polyamory, or they're going to feel that, oh, if I just like food, I like ice cream and I like pizza both, then why shouldn't I take it? So it depends upon the sensitivity of a person. It depends on what a person is seeking in a relationship. Now usually people who seek depth in a relationship tend to find it in one person, because you know it's a simple logic. If we want depth in anything, then we cannot have multiple things. We have so much to explore in one person that we don't have to turn towards the other person. So here, the personalities, the thought processes, preferences, needs, or what they have in their life. For example, there's a very unhappy couple who are not meant for each other, but they're stuck to each other for whatever reasons. In that case, a person may prefer to have somebody else in their life if their culture allows them, or if whatever their values allow them. So I think it's an absolutely personal preference a person may have, and one should not be judged based on what system they choose.
Right.
Because if we see all around the world, even it could be kings, it could be gods, multiple partner has been a thing.
Right.
So, better not get into it and decide anything for anyone. Let them decide it for themselves.
For sure, for sure. It is a personal choice in that sense.
Yeah.
Speaking about personal choices, some people that are in a relationship, maybe a monogamous relationship, they're interested in opening up the relationship. They're interested in polyamory or polygamy or some type of poly style, but they don't know how to communicate this to their partner because they're worried that it's going to disrupt or break the relationship. Do you think that they should suppress their feelings because of their fear of breaking the relationship, or do you feel like they need to speak up about it to their partner and explore their desires?
I think honesty comes first. One should definitely give a chance to explore transparency and try to go involving their partner, trying to make the person understand that their needs are different, and see if the partner is happily open to it, or if there is a possibility of convincing their partner towards something that would be mutually beneficial if it is. But provided if your partner is not someone who would appreciate it or would feel it's a sin, it's a big crime, in that case, one option remains that you part ways with your partner, have a different life, or then again, it's an individual choice what a person may do. Because then, if not told to the partner, it becomes cheating in the classical definitions of the society, isn't it? So, again, it's an individual preference because then there are consequences.
Yeah,
Spiritually speaking, there's nothing ethical or unethical, okay? But there are consequences of the decisions we take in our lives. So we should be very intentional when we do something, and we should have clarity when we choose something, knowing what would be the consequences and repercussions, how my family would be affected because of a specific decision of mine. I
yeah.
think with this responsibility, a person may choose to do what fits right in the situation.
Right, right, right. Like you mentioned cheating, which comes from a lack of clarity in like when the relationship was defined. So for people that have been in a monogamous relationship, that they both chosen monogamy, this is what they want. But along the line, somebody has stepped out of the relationship and infidelity has happened, cheating has happened. But their partner hasn't necessarily found out, but they're carrying around a sense of guilt about what they've done and what has happened. So they would like to communicate this to their partner, but once again, they're afraid of breaking the relationship if they speak about it. Do you think it's a viable option for them not to say anything at all and let it pass? Or do you feel like it's something that they need to speak to their partner about? And if they do choose to speak to their partner, how can they go about this conversation?
Very nice question. Very intelligent question. Again, cheating is a very relative word. Not sharing a single message to your partner can become cheating, and sleeping with somebody can also become cheating if not informed. So, cheating can be there in any relationship. Why just focus that with respect to the intimacy factor? Now, you said about confiding, right? So, if we have to confide to a partner about what we have done, then in that case, again, it's an individual preference, because we should always consider whatever we have done, is it causing some form of loss to the other person or not. If you feel guilty, get rid of your guilt or confess it. See, it's always better to be honest and transparent
Right.
if your situation supports. And if we have been intentful before doing something, then I don't think the we aren't prepared for the consequences. Then we are ready to face the consequences with enough clarity, and it comes when you're intentful. So rather than because commenting on this might hurt many people, because there are different people with different mindsets, and here this podcast is for a varied audience. So I won't specifically stick to one thing. I would just say that Even if you hide one single message, it's going to be cheating. Even if you hide your emotions for someone, it's going to be cheating. So what are you going to do then?
Right, right,
To
right.
what extent are you going to be transparent with your partner? Is your partner ready to face that transparency? If you're ready to tell your partner what's going on in your mind, are you ready to convince them? Are you ready to make them understand? Are you really aligning? So, when we get into a relationship, we should always talk about values and belief systems. If they align, then all these things don't come into the picture altogether.
Right, right.
What do
So
you think?
yeah, yeah. So would you say it depends on the state of the relationship itself, whether their partner is able to receive the information that they'd like to share, and if it's not in a good state, it's not a good idea to share. Would that be accurate
Yeah.
to what you're saying?
Say, I'll give you a small example. Say a partner, one person is having an emotional affair. Okay. And according to their own thoughts, oh, I never did anything with anyone. I never slept with anyone, but I had an emotional affair with her and I'm involved in her.
Hmm.
That's seen by whoever, husband, wife, whoever. And maybe as a reaction, the other person ends up having a physical affair.
Right,
Now, what is right? What is wrong?
right.
Right.
Yes.
So, anything you hide is cheating. So then once you hide something, then the cheating begins, then the cycle begins, and you never know where it ends. So
Right.
ultimately, it varies from situation to situation and dynamics of two people involved. Because micro cheating is such a common thing in couples that then what are you going to call micro and what are you going to call big?
Yeah.
So the best way is to be intentful, be honest, be transparent as much as you can. And
Yeah.
then if nothing works, then do the best what helps in the situation.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The more honest a couple can be with each other, the better for their relationship in the long run, for sure. Yeah, so when we look at like brand new relationships now, when people meet someone new, there's a lot of butterflies. They're very excited about this new person that they've just met, and they want to immerse themselves into this new relationship to the point that some people start to lose themselves upon immersing themselves into this new relationship. So, how can people immerse themselves into a new relationship without necessarily losing their sense of self in the process?
Beautiful. I love this question. It's one of my favorite questions, in fact. So I like to answer that. Yeah. So, why do we lose ourselves? We lose ourselves because we make a more than life size image of the person in our minds. We don't think, what is it that I like about the person? We're just going to say, oh, we love this person so much. And then we often neglect things that we don't like. And then we end up being disillusioned. So we go from one extreme to the other extreme to one extreme. So why fluctuate in these extremes? Let's say neutral. Let's think what value this relationship is adding in my life. What are the things I like about this person? What are the things I don't like about this person? Let's be pretty objective with this. And this will help us have more balanced emotions about the person. So even if it's butterflies, you're going to feel the butterflies in this moment, and then you're going to shift to next moment where you would be more balanced. So we experience life to the fullest, we enjoy, but still we don't get carried away. So how is this?
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. So it's creating that balance of like, okay, there are times and moments where you allow yourself, but you still have to catch yourself and center yourself to recognize that you're an individual as well, to not over immerse yourself all the time. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, Chikala, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for everything that you've shared. Where can people find you, find out more about you, and find out more about what you do?
So initially, what was known as Chitkala's Gateway to Happiness is now going to be Chitkala, the Art of Consciousness. So my website is under construction. Everything is going on. A lot of things are changing. There's a community that's already been built, a community of around 150 people or even more. And we'll be doing retreats, workshops, and a lot of personal development activities along with this coaching and healing. So a lot of things are going on. So what I would do is I would just share my social media links, and later I can share the website link also once it's ready.
Excellent, excellent. And for viewers, all of that information of Chitkala's links and contacts will be in the description, the one that is active, so you can contact her. Thank you so much once again, Chitkala, for coming on. Any final words before we wrap up?
All right. One sentence for everyone. Relationships get better only when you establish a strong connection with yourself. So transform your relationship with yourself first, and then the reality around you will automatically transform.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Chitkala.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you